Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 15th day, 10 days away from Christmas Friday here. Hope everybody's having a good week. I'm having a long one, but I'm glad it's Friday. Great show last night. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Keith Engel, what an awesome guest. Thanks again from TGI Sports. Tonight, supposed to have Carlos Mad New Yorker Chavez. He hasn't came up on backstage yet, but I'm sure he'll be here. I've talked to him earlier. If you haven't heard, Brandon Staley, Pickles, and Tom Terrestrial. Make sure I've got that right. He is the general manager. The general manager, Tom Telesio. The general manager, I was pretty shocked about that, getting fired from the Chargers, giving up 63 points last night. But anyways, let's go ahead and take our first and only break. We'll be back here in just a minute. Do a little quick, get some takes on the LA Charger situation. Quick recap of last week. Do some catch up with Mad New Yorker, and we'll talk about this week's biggest games in NFL. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to Sports, that is Sports with an S, another S, Scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. Alrighty then. Now I do have Carlos Mad New Yorker Chavez. Hey, how you doing, man?
Yo, what's up? What's up? Happy Friday.
Good to see you. So you were in Colombia. Now, is your wife originally from Colombia?
No, so my wife and I were born here in New York. We have family that's from Colombia. She's
is that your nationality, Colombian?
Yeah, Colombian.
Okay.
My wife's family is from Barranquilla, Colombia, which is north of Cartagena in the Caribbean, off the Caribbean. So, yeah.
Nice. Have you seen the movie Scarface with Al Pacino?
Come on, man.
Well, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't want to assume anything, you know? I was going to play you that part when he met Sosa, but I don't think I've had it on here. I played it last week.
Or do we do that, though, Dan?
No, that wasn't it. Let me see if this is it. No, that wasn't it. Remember that part when he went down to Bolivia and saw Sosa?
Yeah.
I think I accidentally deleted it. Oh, well. So glad you're back now. Biggest news story, Brandon Staley got fired. And the general manager, was you kind of surprised that they fired Tom Telesco, who brought in all that great talent as well after that humiliating loss last night?
I think one more person should have got fired on that.
Who's that? Oh, Keelan Moore?
Yeah.
The OC?
Moore should have fired.
Yeah, I thought you said that in the text, yeah.
And that's because he was brought in to change the offense, and a lot of the problem was the offense, right? They couldn't get it together. They had a top 5 running back. They have a top 10 quarterback. They have one of the best wide receivers coming out in the draft, supposedly. They have they have Keenan Allen, which I think he just gave up as soon as the season started. I told people that, I didn't draft him in my fantasy league, but I was telling people, he's halfway out the door. And then Williams got injured. So,
I'm surprised they extended Williams with his injury history. Mike Williams. Yeah.
And I kept telling you, on paper, they look great, but they don't play the the game on paper, man. Like, so and if they had this, look, the Chargers trying to save money did themselves wrong. Now that they got to, now that the rent is due and you got to pay the checks, go ahead and do it. Cut ties with everybody, and you can start back with square one.
Yeah. Those old spark plug commercial say pay a little more or a lot later.
Yeah,
they should have went after a bigger name candidate than Brandon Staley, and that guy's known to be somewhat cheap like that, Mr. Spanos. That's the reason why Arch Manning didn't want Eli going there.
Yeah, and that's another problem, right? Like, there's a few owners like that. Some of them are starting to get, go away by wayside a little bit slower than they need to, but the commission needs to have a stronger hand, like he needs to put these teams on the wire, man. He needs to let them know, you gotta buck up, because how are you trying to expand the league? How are you trying to get more TV contracts, and your teams that are supposed to come out as some of the top rated teams on paper are playing like some of the bottom teams in the in the league? So you can only sell something so far, man. Yeah. And,
I get the sense he should have fired Staley last year and went after the coach now with Denver there.
Yeah.
I know his name's slipping in my mind too.
Yeah. Sean Payton. Yeah. So
Sean Payton. Yeah.
Here's a problem. There needs to be something in an owner's type of agreement when you have a team that the commissioner could come in there and veto a couple of these things going on. It's just too much drama right now from ownership, and it'll trickle down to the team and the team success, right?
Yeah.
Being cheap or being I can't say cheap because that's not fair either, because $1 billion industry, right? Being frugal, trying to cash in on rookie contracts, skipping out on contracts from different states and cities on stadium building. Those kind of things need to be in this agreement with the ownership, stating that this is the NFL and this is our expectations and this is what's going to happen. This is where we want our teams to be and we want them to stay.
Right.
And you are part of you have to be part of the solution. You can't just demand a city to pay taxes to build your stadium. Right? So those things, those are things I feel like the commissioner can do in some of these owners meetings, man. They need to buck up, man. I mean,
you think they'll go after? You think he'll go after Bill Belichick?
I don't think Bill Belichick will go to the West Coast to that team.
Okay.
Right. So,
yeah. What about Jim Harbaugh?
I don't think so. I think even as much as he wants to be in the NFL, he's not going to put himself in a situation where the roster has to be totally revamped. Plus, a lot of those players, man, even before this game, because a lot of people are like, oh, they gave up. They gave up the fourth game when Herbert couldn't carry the team to that win, and then all of a sudden they just went into losing 3 games in a row. So that's when they gave up. And you could tell because the offense couldn't put up any more points enough to win that game, right?
Herbert can't. I mean, there's only so much he can do.
Yeah, but if you
can tell this guy's bringing that team down farther than this Staley guy. He just.
But the biggest problem, Robert, is that you brought in an offensive coordinator to give you more points. You're not scoring any more points than you did last year. You got one of the top 10 quarterbacks. You didn't make him better than when he was last year.
No.
And you got a top 5 running back, and he was better last year than he is this year because he's not even playing on the field.
Yep. Well, and then you look how good Dallas is playing. Keelan Moore was overrated. Mike McCarthy made the right call, firing Moore there and taking over. If you look at it, look at Dak Prescott's year and look at his turnover ratio and look at, look how Herbert's playing this year in that offense as well. And, of course, a lot of that is just on Staley. He's the head coach. He's got to be in charge of everything.
Yeah.
Everything comes down on him,
And then he was already on the hot seat They should have just got rid of him before the season started.
That's what I was saying about Peyton.
So,
you're right. This guy, until proven otherwise, innocent until proven guilty, cheap until proven not cheap. Harbaugh's going to want some money, man.
Yeah. And,
$18 million a year probably.
And this, they ran out of San Diego because San Diego wasn't going to buck up and give them a new stadium right away. Right. So he saves money there because, they got out of that contract. They went and borrowed a stadium that's not even theirs, but it's a new stadium, right?
Do they play in SoFi also?
Yeah, they play SoFi.
The same one that the Rams owner.
Yeah, the Rams playing. So
they're probably leasing that, I guess.
Yeah, they're leasing that. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know,
It'd
man.
be better if this guy just sold the team.
Right.
And he's having a fallout with his sister. That's been in the news over the past few years. It's just, it's unfortunate,
Right. And his private issues shouldn't have anything to do with what is going on in football and
it shouldn't, no.
And that to me was bothersome about some of these teams. Remember I mentioned the Dolphins issues, the Washington Commanders finally team got sold. It shouldn't come down to an issue that has to go to court, and it's better off if the owner wasn't owning the team, just if it's something that you can't do, just, sell the team, make some money off of it. Have somebody who's been waiting and ready
to be continued. Yeah. To be continued. Yeah, I'm like you. I just wait and see approach. I'm not sure if they'll go after Harbaugh or Bill Belichick. Although Bill Belichick would make the most sense because I do believe they are talented. All get out, man. I mean, according to these PFF ratings. They got some great players.
Yeah, but none of the ratings make sense because the great players ain't putting out. They sitting out.
This has been the case for the Chargers for 20 plus years. Remember that year that they went 14-2 and got put out in the first round? Great roster on that team.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though.
Phillip Rivers, those guys,
Though that team put out stats like crazy. LaDainian Tomlinson, the
Antonio Gates.
Antonio Gates had a career year. Seau and
I don't think Seau was on.
Was that what's his name was on there? The other guy, what's his name? On the defense, he was putting out some.
Sean Marion.
Yeah, Marion had a good season. A lot of these guys were producing.
Quentin Jammer. I remember his name because I thought jam you at the line of scrimmage because he was a corner.
Yeah, those guys were producing. Yeah. So this team's names all over the place, but then they don't show on the win column. So
they simply progressively got worse, is what I could say. Do you have any thoughts on Will Levis Monday night, man, on that win there?
So I didn't get in town until 3:00 in the morning on Tuesday. I watched this game on replay.
You saw the highlights or whatever?
No, not the highlights. I watched the game.
Okay.
And it was that was just a huge mess that the Dolphins just kept celebrating, didn't focus on winning the game.
That's the theme of my show. It was like, they're doing all this remember the Titans end zone dances and doing all this craziness, and they're acting like it's a Pro Bowl. The Titans are acting like it's their Super Bowl.
Right.
And they're focused and locked in. You could tell, right?
Yeah, and I like that the offensive players didn't give up on Levis. And I like that Levis stood up for himself. I'm the quarterback. Let me do things. And
that's what I was talking about with Keith last night, right?
Yeah.
He's very vocal.
Yeah, and that's good for him. He's growing up. He has to play. He has to get through these hard knocks and hard times. That bravado helps him a little bit. I just I'm glad that there's some progression going. I don't know the ceiling of his potential. You and I saw him play a lot for Kentucky.
Yes.
We know that there was a couple players on that team that made him look better than he is.
At times, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, we'll see. I'm not excited. I think people are excited because the alternative is not that great, and you already know what you have. and Tannehill and then and Malik, you still don't know what you have on him, but like, it's the options they're not that great. So
yeah,
I think that's where the excitement comes from, to be honest with you. I'm not saying that Levis is not going to be a good quarterback. That was Keith's pick. Keith was high on him like he is on May.
Yeah.
Again, we saw him play more often because he plays.
Yeah, he looked good though. He, other than that little swing pass, that little lazy pitch out to Henry, he had a pretty good game last night.
On that pitch out, I just don't think he wanted to get hit. Like, I just saw his eyes get big and was like, I'm gonna get rid of this ball, and didn't make a good pitch.
Henry don't mind if a big giant guy runs at him. He's such a natural football player,
I think on those small things in the line, I think that's where he's always struggled too, like the quick, like the pitches, the gives, and he's not one of those hide the ball very well kind of guys. He needs to work on that, especially since he has a running back and they can do the option, right? So and like he just right now he has too many tells, but that's because he's still kind of raw. And he's always kind of been like that.
Well, they've got a really banged up line. I mean, they're so lucky to have been in that game.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to get blown out in that game. But the defense played great for Tennessee.
I mean,
even with all their injuries, Simmons wasn't there. Fulton wasn't there. Their punter was out.
Punter's going to be out for like the next
Yeah, he got hurt in the Colts game.
They broke his leg in like 10 places.
Yeah. Yeah, Stonehouse or whatever.
They got doctors over there in Nashville putting it together like a pause, like a
poor guy. Well, yeah. But I tell you what, and you know what's really bad about it? I don't know if you're on this school of thought, but I'd like to see Tennessee lose the rest of their games and get a better tackle. They need a left tackle.
No, I think
the thing about it is they'll probably win Sunday because Stroud, he's in concussion protocol. He's doubtful for Houston next week,
Yeah, and
what's your thought on that? That maybe they should lose the rest to get a better. That was their Super Bowl Monday, Yeah,
I think that I can't say too much because I picked the Titans to play the Eagles in the Super Bowl. So, I mean, I would like to see that. I don't know, people would like whatever, but I thought that would have been a better matchup than Kansas City again. But in hindsight, the way that the league is now, anybody can win. The Titans still kind of have an opportunity to get that last playoff spot. I'm not saying that.
I mean, mathematically, I guess they could.
Yeah,
they could be in it. That Houston's messed up. Jacksonville banged up as well. The Colts don't have a great matchup this week. You make some good points, but I don't think that they have that kind of roster.
I don't think
I still want them to keep Vrabel, so I'm kind of glad that they did win for that sake,
My thing for the Titans and them being the third team that I root for, being the fact that I did live in Tennessee for a while and that was my backyard team for that time frame. I feel like they should try to win as many games as possible and give that kid confidence if that's the kid you're going to go with.
Yeah.
If Levis is not the kid you want to go with and you're thinking about getting a new quarterback, then you might as well get a new coaching staff and a new GM. And I say this because you are starting to see a kid develop in a way that is positive and that the team is responding to. You got older, better wide receivers talking about this kid's going to be good. You got
that's what Hopkins said.
Saying you got a line that's kind of protecting him. They got a little bit of hey, well, guys,
he's the most vocal quarterback since McNair.
Yeah, and then you got a running back. No matter who's a good quarterback, it's still going to get you 5 to 10 yards when you give him the ball.
Right
now, is he always going to keep doing that? I give him 2 more years, but that's I think where you should be going as far as Spears is a good backup. Find another.
Yeah, well, he leads all the rookies and rookie running backs in all-purpose yards.
Yeah, so
he's beating out Bijan Robertson, who was much more highly sought after.
Yeah, and get you another guy who's a thumper, right? Get you another guy who's going to go in the middle. That's what you should kind of be looking for, to not to replace Henry, but if something happens to him, you can still have a dual threat. You need another wide receiver. What you have right now is okay, but you need one more guy. Is that tight end? Is he going to be the man?
Uncle, yeah.
Uncle, I mean, he has his games. You know, you need an O-line, defensive players. I just don't want to see Tennessee go in there and waste it and do what the Jets do and just waste a pick. Just, get some players.
Well, Carthon, look at his first 3 picks. I mean, he picked Levis, Shinorski, the guard there that's playing really well.
Yeah.
And of course, Spears. That's 1, 2, 3 right there, man.
Yeah, I was
Al-Shazier, whatever his name is, that linebacker, and of course, Arden Key from Jacksonville. I mean, he's, I had Rich Ferris on here from 104.5, and he made some good points the other day about
I'm not
Carthon, the general manager.
He's learned from some of the best admins anyways, not just from San Francisco, but his father was a player for the Giants.
Yeah.
And he knows.
And he was a running back too, though, right?
Yeah. And he was.
So you got an offensive background from general manager. You got a defensive head coach, kind of like the 49ers, where you got the defensive general manager, the offensive head coach. Maybe that could be our peanut butter and jelly on the East Coast here.
And I would love to see what people he has in his phones chirping in his ears. I'm sure he has guys like Carl Banks and, people who Kevin Johnson, people who used, some coaches. I'm sure he's probably got Belichick's number,
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
I would just love to sit down with him, interview him, and be like, yo, who's on your phone? Like,
did you follow the Titans in '99?
Yeah, bro, you were at the game. I was at home, like, wishing I was at the game.
Okay, I got to get your thoughts, man. The late great Frank Wycheck passed away over the weekend, man.
God bless his soul. For his family and his friends. People who used to work with him at Nashville on radio and also on TV. He was good. He was a great commentator. He used to
good sense of humor. I really liked his storytelling.
He went straight, put people in their place. I like that sometimes. It's good television, and it's good to hear from a guy who was a hard-working tight end. He was a good tight end. So he earned his, wings for being able to do that. Just sad that what has happened to him and the ordeals. I'm just wondering what he was dealing with, and it ain't our business. But but for those of us,
I hope it comes out though. Well, his daughter's family said they wanted to get his brain, studied and everying for CT and all that.
And I think for their family's sake, I think that's fair, and for because they want to know. And it just sounds like he was struggling after he finished his contract out with commentating.
Yeah.
And
he left in 2016, man.
Yeah, I'm not close to him, but from the things that I've heard from people, even when we were listening yesterday, it just sounds like he might have been battling depression. You had people like who played in that time frame too, like Junior Seau, who had
right. That's exactly what I thought about.
Like great.
That's
people,
one of the symptoms of the CTE.
Yeah. They were just great people who are great players, who've done great things for others. It's just after they retired, it's just different. You have to live life. You're a regular person, even though you were a superstar. And I'm sure those kind of things just kind of whirlwinded, and it's just not easy. Life isn't easy for anybody, no matter whether you're a superstar or a guy on the street. So, but I just wish like the NFL had a better system of health for their former players.
Yeah. Well, they're experimenting with new helmets, and they're just trying all these new tackling techniques, and this is banned, that's banned. I think a lot of this stuff is working out. I just wish they could practice more.
When you hear those things from former players, NFL players, NBA players, NHL players, and you hear these kind of things that come up, you just like a regular Joe. You and I, my wife, your family would have been like, yo, you got to go see a doctor. Eventually you go see a doctor,
Yeah.
It's like for the NFL players who are retired, who have problems dealing with different issues, it shouldn't be difficult. They gave up their bodies to entertain people.
Yeah.
They signed contracts, yes, and they should be looked over, like just like our military, right? I'm not saying that they're better than the soldier, but I feel like our VAs failed our soldiers.
Well, you know, they got good incentives. They've got good. I forgot what you call it there. Retirement funds.
Yeah, but that's they're just now. It took them about Robert. It took them about what, maybe 20 plus years to get to that level.
Yeah.
If you hear in the East Coast, you ever listen to the Boomer Esiason and how he talks about, you know, he was one of those
pensions. What else?
Yeah, he's one of those players that fought for the contracts to get bigger for quarterbacks. You know, like now he's talking about he pays for his own insurance and he, you know, but he has the opportunity to afford better quality of insurance, to have a better quality of life after retirement, that a lot of players unfortunately don't work towards, or don't have, or don't realize that that's something important. And that, to me, that's what that bothers me. Because you look up to your hero, you're talking to somebody. Like right now, we have a player out here who sometimes is local. He hangs out a lot. Wayne Corbett, played for the Jets.
Yeah, former receiver.
I've seen him a few times in Long Island, and it's, hey, Wayne, what's up? He's like, hey, how you doing? And you're like,
is he like a punch drunk boxer?
Yeah, exactly. Like, but it's not. But he's okay. But I'm just like, man, like they need to.
Yeah, beyond the glory, man.
Yeah,
well, got a lot to cover. I've got to work in the morning. I can't go too long on the show.
Anyway, so it's just a sad story, and I wish you could have got help in the NFL.
Yeah,
they still need.
He's only 52, man. You're 42. I mean, it's only 10 years, brother.
Yeah, man.
It's a sad story, but I wanted to get your thoughts. I know you like the Titans, you know. So, anyways,
yeah, man.
Quick take. Juan Soto to the Yankees. Switching gears here, since you got the Yankee head, you're making it more famous in the Yankee camp, by the way.
Yeah, man.
From your takes, brother.
You know how we do.
Jay-Z?
No, I'm just kidding. Like,
I can't hardly see it. It's a little camouflage, but I think I see the N and the Y.
I like it. It's a good deal for the Yankees.
Do you like that? Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna sell jerseys. I don't like the rumblings going on here in the media that he's just going to be here for a year. He doesn't really know if he wants to stay a Yankee. And I'm just like, just get on the field, let him play. Let's get some players around him now. Pick up some pitchers. Pick up fill up the roster. You can't say you don't have a good head, a good roster, because you got Judge, you got Soto, you got other players that's really supposed to be
Giancarlo.
You got Stanton. You're supposed to have
Garrett Cole. Hitters. They need more pitching. You kind of annoyed that they didn't get the pitching?
I mean, pitchers come and go. It's one of those leagues where everybody needs pitching.
Yeah.
But you can't be like that Braves, and your hitters can't be slumping in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So
that's true. I predicted. I said that could happen to the Braves, and that's what happened. And they got cold.
I hope that this doesn't happen to the Yankees, and they have with Verdugo that they picked up from Boston. They did okay. They'll be okay. They just need to fill out that roster a little bit and just not be too thin at the back end.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that wild Ohtani trade, man?
I like
pulling that Bobby Bonilla, man.
Yeah, I like the deal for the Dodgers
signing. Yeah.
I'm not a Dodgers fan, but you got to get rid of Kershaw, and he's got to move on. You put somebody like Ohtani, takes away from all that. Now Kershaw can ride into the sunset.
Yeah, Kershaw's
it's
really
good for the Dodgers brand. Ohtani will be in there. He's like they're paying pretty much a player that like three positions almost. And they got a pretty decent deal, to be honest with you. How they set it up, good for the Dodgers.
10 years, $2 million. Yeah,
I don't think that they're just gonna go and start winning championships, because just like the Braves, their top two hitters fell off the face of the earth. Mookie Betts was hitting less than 270. Freeman didn't hit more than 280, and those two guys were nowhere to be seen during the playoffs. So that they didn't help the team, and so Ohtani, could possibly give them a little bit more depth in that department of hitting, but it's baseball, man. Again, like you said, they need pitching too. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of deals going on right now, man. As we speak, the people are going left and right. So,
Yeah, it's got to let us see it play out. He's going to be a DH, so they're going to be a good ticket. They're going to be a good watch. If they're on TV, I'm going to watch them. You know, with Freeman and Butts and Ohtani. I mean, that's going to be an interesting deal there. Okay, now haven't talked to you since a couple of weeks here. The college football playoff. Got to give you credit here. You nailed Florida, Alabama and Georgia. I clipped this for marketing. Got a lot of comments on it. This is you 2 weeks ago today.
Like a recruit.
You're picking Alabama. What's the score?
I'm saying it's going to be 27-24.
Alabama?
Yeah.
27-24 Alabama. You nailed it. And somebody on my YouTube is like, did he bet it?
I don't gamble.
No, he said he don't bet,
Yeah, no.
So what you think about Alabama making it? Did Florida State get robbed, man?
No, I don't think so for a lot of reasons, man. And everybody's like, well, they beat this team and they beat that team. Yeah, but they only beat like 3 big teams in a 2-month span. How about that? Like, if you look at who they beat and when they
Pickles
beat them,
giving you credit, brother.
Thank you.
Ask Carlos to nail the Alabama game.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. And
you're the man of the hour, brother.
Yeah, and so FSU, and then the ACC wasn't that strong at all this year at all.
Right.
And so I think, and I say this, and I don't want to sound like I'm a media guy, but that's my forte. You and I, communications and all that.
We are kind of like doing that thing here.
What I say is that you will enjoy the game better that because of FSU not being in that predicament, to be honest with you. And
so you didn't want to see Florida State either in that playoff.
No, and it's not.
I think I sent you that text that night, didn't you?
Yeah, and
be unwatchable.
They have a great defense. They did well to be undefeated.
And that Coleman guy is going to make it. That receiver, he's going to be a big time receiver. Probably.
I think they did good, and I am kind of upset that Louisville didn't put up a fight that they should have. But I think because they're not deep enough, that they were already tired after getting beat by the UK team. But again, no excuses. They lost. Florida State won, and they did well by winning. They did do their job. But how can I say this? It's like, if you're in one of the medium-sized banks, right, and you do your job, you won't go to a bigger echelon bank because you did a good job. You're not gonna move you up, in your status because you did.
You're not gonna be Citibank.
Yeah, like look, you're a Farmers and Merchants Bank in Clarksville. They're not gonna move you up to Chase because you had one good year. Yeah. Like, so, and that's kind of what happened this year to the ACC. I know. I'm sorry, guys who follow ACC. I know.
Yeah,
they're big teams. It's a Power 5, but it was like a Powerless 5 this year. And the Pac-12 and the SEC had better matchups and played better football all year round.
Yeah,
it wasn't just. And when they had to win games against the small schools, they played the small schools and they won. Right.
So, what's your thoughts on this playoff? You nailed Washington. We're tied 1-1. Remember, I said, did you want to count it? You said, don't worry about it because the game was going on. But you did nail Washington beating Oregon. You've been right about Washington all year. Yeah. Michael Penix is I was a little disappointed that he didn't get the Heisman. Jalen Daniels' stats are unbelievable.
Right.
Yeah. So what you think of that? Okay, Alabama and Michigan.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Michigan, bro.
That's on New Year's Day, man.
Yeah, and I don't think Michigan can handle that.
Yeah, I like Alabama too. You probably heard me last night with Keith.
Yeah. They'll play them. They'll fight them for the first half, and the second half is going to be a different game.
Right.
The SEC
Right.
is just another level when it comes to pro football ready schools. And Michigan, they have maybe a few players that are pro ready, but you know, it's not always the whole team where you compare Alabama, Georgia, even Tennessee, who hasn't been in a first place situation. They've put out better players than some of these teams than Ohio State and Michigan combined, if you think about it, right?
What's your thoughts about Texas and Washington? That's a great matchup, man.
Well, Sarkisian going back to his old alumni.
Yeah, that's true, right? He did used to coach for Washington. Sure did.
I think he was a player there too, if I'm not mistaken.
Man, that was a big time storyline right there.
He failed there at Washington as a coach, so I think he might want to. Yeah, he had a little problem tipping the bottle, but
that's all well documented.
Yeah, he's done.
He seems to have gotten past it.
He's done what he had to do. He coached at Alabama, went through the refuge.
Right. Saban's got his cleanup. He's there to rebuild your reputation. Remember, he rehabilitated Lane Kiffin. Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah, I don't feel like Texas is deep enough. I think Washington's going to pull it out this year, and
you like the Washington physicality too.
I like the physical. I like that. Yeah. They're very consistent, and even if they're down, they don't play like they're down. They play like they're ready for 2 scores, and then just they play to keep scoring. They don't play to just tie. And I like that they attack more. I don't like coaches who like score 14 points and then they're like, all right, well, we're leading.
Yeah, that's Jeff Fisher, former Titans coach.
That's not a good way to play a bowl game. Anyway.
Yeah. So who's your champion? I mean, you already know I like Michigan Alabama over Washington.
Yeah, but you think that'll be the final? Washington.
That'll be a great game, though.
Oof. Man. Well, here's the thing. We got to find out where they're at after those 2 games, right? Whoever's the healthiest.
We can pick it as we go because you never know. Some teams may have injuries.
Yeah.
Roll may get injured.
Yeah.
Michael Penix may get injured.
Some players might not play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they'll play. I don't think they'll avoid like NFL the guys that are in the playoff in air quotes.
You never know these days. People in NIL deals and stuff.
Somebody else. Who was it that said they're not going to play in the bowl game?
I'm not going to play.
Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
So we know he's going now.
Yeah. So, but hey, I mean, there's going to be 2 good games. They're going to be 2 battles, and
is this going to be one of the highest rated like playoffs ever with these big names like this?
Yeah, man. But and I hope that these kids stay healthy to finish out the season. One of the things I really dislike about the playoff system is that it doesn't allow these kids to play it all the way through, because every once in a while you'll get that freak injury,
Yeah, you don't want like a Jalen Smith. Remember that linebacker that played for Notre Dame, got hurt a few years ago.
Willis McGahee, remember he got hurt?
Yeah, but he came back though.
He came
back and played for the Bills, and he later went to the Ravens. That was a rough injury. Yeah, I was just talking about that yesterday with Keith. The 2002 national championship game between Ohio State and Miami. I was pulling hard for Ohio State. That Miami team was way too cocky, man.
They was good, man. They was a good team.
Shoot, they were cold.
That was that's Kendall Winslow Jr. He was on that team, right?
I think he was on there. Yeah.
I mean, he's been through some stuff too, man. He's crazy.
Oh God, yeah. That's a whole topic in its own. We could talk about that when the time comes.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts about let's see, the Eagles 2-game losing streak? Any thoughts about that? Are they reeling?
It's hard to say. I want to see more competitiveness out of them. They've had a hard few weeks due to the scheduling, if people want to say that. It does affect you. It does affect your play. It does affect what you do. Remember, I'm not too keen on the coach. I don't.
Sirianni.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Sirianni. I think he's too passive. And you have way too many stars on that team to not push the envelope.
Yeah.
And yeah, the fact that the defense is hurting and they have injuries on the defense, it does make a little bit of a difference. But that's where your offense, you lean on your offense, right? And they haven't done that. They've made Brown one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, but they still have Swift. They have Devontae Smith. They should be scoring a little bit more than what they're scoring. They should be. I feel like they should be up with San Francisco and Dallas, and they're not doing that. And that's just a testament to the fact that they're coaching their OC.
Do you think that maybe he simply figured out that defenses? And I'm trying to find this clip for you, see what you think about Nick Bosa of the 49ers saying that they have set the kind of set the template of how to play Jalen Hurts the other day, keeping him in his lanes and all that, and not letting him run a certain direction. And he's had some pretty rough games. I was surprised that Dallas played him that good. I picked Dallas, but I was surprised that they played him to that extent here. And I'm trying to see if I can find the bite and play. Here we go. Listen up.
And then
Nick
obviously
Bosa.
we put the blueprint out there. Hopefully the Cowboys watch the tape. We made Jalen stay in the pocket and escape outside instead of those B gaps, and paid off. Because Jalen's looking at the rush every play. So yeah, you just have to be disciplined and not give him that quick escape route where it could get.
You think he's going to struggle as a pocket passer, Jalen Hurts, according to Nick Bosa?
Well, he didn't struggle last year. And I think the fact of the matter is that you have to let your player play his game as much as you want him to follow the plan that you have as an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Once you make a player uncomfortable and rely on something that he can't control, especially a quarterback,
right,
then you lose your quarterback's ability to keep making those big plays, to keep making those safe plays, to make him feel comfortable. I feel that maybe Jalen Hurts has an issue with trying to make everybody feel comfortable because everybody wants to put up stats, right? Brown wants to put up stats. Devontae Smith wants stats.
Yeah, Brown's already starting to criticize the offense.
Yeah,
So
Swift needs his
I would try to move Brown. Nobody agrees with me, but Brown has got some diva mentalities.
Yeah, and
he's going to be due to a lot of money here pretty soon.
Yeah, so you can't. I think Jalen Hurts for the kind of person that he is, quiet leader type mentality. Hadn't said anything, but I think he should step up and be like, "Look, I'm the quarterback, and this is what I'm going to do."
Yeah,
and if
let this be a Donovan McNabb TO, you got to nip in the bud.
Yeah, and if you're the OC, you got to make room and be like, "Okay, what do you see? What do you want to do? This is the play, but whatever you see, what do you want to do? Get it done." And give him some.
What do you see? What do you hear?
Yeah, give him the ability to make the decisions on the run, on the fly, what he's actually been used to doing and that he's kind of good at. And then you'll see you would see the team be better offensively.
Yeah.
And if you don't allow him to do it and you keep him boxed in and cover those V gaps, yeah, I think that can happen to any young quarterback. Right. So
yeah, he's going to have to learn to read, and that's what he had problems with in college. I thought he got past it, but
it's not him though. Why is it his fault? Why is it not the OC's fault for laying down a plan?
Yeah, they've got a new OC this year because Steichen, he's moved on, and I think that he may be struggling from that.
Yeah,
and plus they don't, what's that guy's name? Craig Cosell comes on Colin Cowherd's show. He does NFL films. He says they don't run the ball out of center anymore. I've been saying that forever. They got a really good offensive line. You got Swift there. You're not giving the running back any motion there, any movement there to get any kind of momentum. I've been saying I don't know why these coaches do that. I mean, everybody wants to play out of the shotgun every play now.
They keep out thinking themselves.
Yeah,
you don't just
think in the room, ain't it?
You have Gainwell too. I'm not saying he's a top 10 running back, but you have somebody to mix it up with.
Gainwell, yeah.
They're the style of running, right? So mix it up. You have a tight end. Well, tight end's hurt,
and he's back though. Goddard's back.
You have a tight end also. Like mix it up, and let Jalen mix it up. Let him choose. Let him.
They were 3.5-point favorites. Now they're 3-point favorites. They play at Seattle Monday night. What do you think about that game? We'll start there.
That game is a they better show up and play.
Yeah, that's a pretty long way. They had to fly to Dallas, fly back to Philly, then fly way across the country to Seattle.
I don't think they're gonna make that game. I think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be like 27-21. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think the Eagles.
You know what? I would pick the upset, but the problem is Seattle's got a boatload of injuries too.
Yeah, but they're at home. They got a lot of young players that are playing to stay on the team to keep starting. So as long as some of those guys keep coming back, even if they don't have Geno, I think they can still put up some points. So.
Yeah, I like Philly to win, but I think Philly's going to be hanging on. 29-22 Eagles win. If Seattle was healthy with Devin Witherspoon, with Leonard Williams, with, like you said, Geno Smith, of course, the quarterback, with those receivers, look how bad the Eagles secondary has been playing lately. 27-28, they've been giving up a lot of points. Even Buffalo should have beat them, They should be riding a 3-game loser streak, but Seattle is banged up, and I do think the Eagles will bounce back and win. You're calling for Seattle or Eagles?
Yeah, I think Seattle will win. I mean, they still have Adams, right?
Okay, you're calling for Seattle. Wow. Well, if Seattle wins, Dallas will be in first place.
Yeah, I think the Eagles will have to go in as a wild card.
Okay. All right. Even with Drew Lock perhaps playing, I'll give you that out.
You don't believe in Drew Lock?
No, man.
I mean,
He's not at Missouri no more.
I think that the Eagles do a terrible job in defense in preparing.
They are questionable back there.
Preparing for the quarterbacks that they
those receivers for Seattle to exploit that, huh?
Yeah, and I think even Bobo will have a decent game. That's my dude.
You like Bobo. You got DK. DK tore up Dallas a few weeks ago. Yeah. If I knew Geno was going to play, I might pick Seattle.
I think Locke has confidence. I think he'll be okay. And I think that defense is going to step it up. And I think the other players on offense are going to step it up.
Okay, I'm picking.
They're in compete mode. They're in trying to stay and get into that wild card, right? So, and the Eagles are in let's just try to figure it out. Let's just play catch up if we are down, and you can't be like that. So
yeah. Al Michaels, drop down and get your eagle on.
I want the Eagles to be better for being an NFC East.
Oh, I'd love to see the Seahawks beat them, But, of course, I like to see, Jamie humbled. But, the truth of the matter is I just like Philly's just more healthy. But they are reeling. And Seattle's a long bleeping way away from Philadelphia.
The weather over there is going to matter a lot, too. So.
Yeah. And all that would favor the Eagles because they still got a really good offensive line. They could just run the ball,
You would think that that's something that they would do.
Give Swift the rock and let him just run it like 25, 30 times.
I feel like Sirianni does that on teams that he's not supposed to. And then teams he's supposed to, I think he's plays it backwards, trying to overthink.
I don't have a lot of faith in the Eagles. I just think that the Seattle's,
they look Michael. Keep the faith.
They got little decimated, man, with the injuries. Okay. All right. Let's see. How about Denver at Detroit? I think this one will be tomorrow. This one was hard for me to pick, man.
Why is it hard? You like Goff? Is that your guy?
Well, because it's a tight game.
You gonna give him an extension?
Well, it's at Detroit. It's at Detroit. Denver's still bad against the run
It don't matter
for some reason.
But it's
And
still got Russell
Detroit's
Wilson,
ninth
so they got a
against the run.
chance.
Huh?
They still got Russell Wilson, so they still got a chance.
Yeah, they got a chance. But it's at Detroit. I like Detroit, man.
Ooh,
27-23.
you one of them.
Detroit got beat by the Bears last week.
I know. You're the one talking about you like Detroit. I don't know what you see. That are we watching the
Well,
same
they went
thing?
down on the road and beat up on New Orleans the week before
Who
that.
can't?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would say New Orleans beat up on Carolina, but Carolina sucks too. So
I've been telling you that Detroit is gonna fall. And they're
Denver rushes 40 times a game, and Detroit's ninth against the run. So Denver's like 30th against the run, and
I like
you're
Judy.
gonna get a lot of David Montgomery, and who's the other guy?
I like,
Gibbs.
I like Judy. I like the Broncos' young defense. I like Russell Wilson. I don't like Goff. I don't trust him.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I
pay
like
him-
Wilson too. Yeah.
I wouldn't pay him an extension. The defense is struggling for Detroit. As you can tell, they played the Bears and they gave up all those yards against them.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that they would have to come back and some way or another find confidence to play a team that's on a winning streak. That's not easy. That's not an easy task.
Well, they got a 1-game winning streak.
I mean, well, they were on a winning streak and
They lost the other day.
Yeah. So.
We was both wrong about Houston, but remember Denver had to go to LA, fly back to Denver, then they fly back Detroit on a short week. Detroit just flew to Chicago, then flew back. Detroit's at home. It's a tight game. It could come down to one kick, man.
Did they have to fly to Chicago, really? They could have got on a car and
That is true. Could have took the bus. 27-23 Lions. You like Denver. What's the score?
Denver will win this game 21-17.
Okay. I mean, you're right. That it really is a go-with-the-way game, and they're both in it. Hey, Denver may be able to catch Kansas City, folks. They're 1 game back.
Possible.
I kind of like to see you win that one. I like to see Kansas City squirm a little bit.
They're going to be
It's like I was glad that Alabama beat Georgia. I thought that was awesome. Okay, Minnesota at Cincinnati. 2 backup quarterbacks. How about Jake Browning, man? He's like, 400 yards in the last couple games?
What's he like,
122
92%
rating?
92% quarterback rating or something like that?
This quarterback for Cincinnati.
Yeah, isn't his rating like 92% or something?
Yeah, it's 122.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Oh, he's red hot, man.
Whoa.
Jamar Chase, T. Higgins back. Joe Mixon's running the rock,
You're gonna beat Minnesota? That defense is different than the teams that they played before. That defense is on the up.
Yeah, Minnesota had a good game. They shut out the Raiders.
Yeah, it was 3-0. They didn't score any points.
Yeah, God, what a boring game, right?
I wanted to watch that, and then I looked at the points, and I was like, "What did I miss?"
Denver made up for the Raiders made up for it, put 63
God, did they?
on that quitting Charger team.
You know what? I'm not a big fan of Cincinnati, even with this new guy. I think this new guy is doing his job. I don't trust their O-line. I don't trust their defense to not make stupid penalties when it counts. Minnesota, I don't feel like they should be playing Mullins, but Mullins is a good quarterback. He kept the 49ers in the playoff position while Garoppolo was recuperating for 49ers. Mullins is a gamer. I'd rather have them finish out with Dobbs because Dobbs is smart. But
Dobbs is, man, he like 8 turnovers.
The turnovers things killed him, but that's
falling off a truck, dude.
Yeah, it just is Mullins going to run more than Dobbs around out of the pocket and throw? Is that what
I got a lot of respect for Cincinnati's you're right about Flores. He's done a great job with Minnesota's defense, man.
I think this one's going to be close too. This one's probably like 17-14.
Yeah.
I like Minnesota.
Okay, I like Cincinnati. It's at Cincinnati now.
Yeah, it could be.
All right, and Madsen's out.
It don't matter.
Ty Chandler, Pickles, you're right. We'll be running there for and I think Justin Jefferson's out too.
Yeah, Jefferson's out, but he's been out in and out of.
Yeah, like a chest injury or something.
Addison's okay. Hutchinson's pretty decent. So
yeah.
I think they'll be able to score 21, 24 points.
Yeah, if it were in Minnesota, I may take Minnesota, but it's in Cincinnati. So
I think it's actually a better situation that they're not in Minnesota.
Oh, really?
Yeah, especially for Mullins.
All right, we are in disagreement tonight. You're probably going to be leading there, brother. You never know. Okay, Pittsburgh at Indianapolis. Pittsburgh really needing this win. Mitch Trubisky still the quarterback, unfortunately, for the Steelers. This would be a layup if they had Kenny Pickett back.
I don't know. Pittsburgh, they're going through some things.
Going through some things. Yeah, they are.
I don't know. This was a hard one for me to pick. I just don't.
And they both 7-6 too. That's why these are tough games, brother.
Yeah. Well, one second. I got doorbell.
Go ahead. Yeah. So, folks, while he stepped out for a second here, I do like the Colts to win this game. They're at home. Okay. All right. I was just telling the audience here. With Trubisky, I don't have any faith in him. It's in Indianapolis. They're favored. The Colts are favored, so Tomlin will have them playing good.
Yeah.
Tomlin's had his teams play down to the competition. So final analysis, 21-16, Colts beat them, and they lose 3 straight. Colts stay in the race here at home. Going to be a pretty good game. I think this is another Saturday game, by the way. This will be on tomorrow. I like Shane Steichen and Gardner Minshew over Mitch Trubisky and Mike Tomlin. So
yeah, I feel like they're going to kick the ball more to win this game. It
ain't going to be a fun game. It'll be okay, though.
I feel like 3 field goals and a touchdown. What is that? 16?
Who you'd like to win?
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be like 16-12 or something like that.
Colts?
Yeah, Colts going to win that game.
Yeah. It's hard to pick up for Trubisky.
I don't
have no faith in Trubisky, man.
If Warren and Najee Harris have a good running game, if they get about combined 110 yards, 120 yards, and Trubisky can play a good game, this game could be 21-16.
Yeah.
But you said they're playing in Indy, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. What's Trubisky's record in Indianapolis when he plays?
Oh, I don't know. He ain't won a game this year with the Steelers.
I just feel bad for the kid because, he
looked good for a minute there.
Yeah, maybe one decent.
So, hey, we got a big game here. Are you kind of thrown off by the fact that the Cowboys are actually underdogs at Buffalo?
No.
Really?
I did the NFC East show on Wednesday night, and I keep telling the guys that I don't like the fact that they're not stepping on necks and crushing skulls.
Okay.
I don't like the fact that they have a running back they're paying and don't have the running game.
Pollard?
They don't have the running game to the tippy top shape that should be if you're going to be calling yourself a playoff team. So, the running.
You like the Bills at home?
The Bills could probably take this one.
Okay.
At home.
Yeah, but I like Cowboys. Both teams come off a rough game. Remember, the Bills had to play the Chiefs. That was a very tight game.
The only thing, Robert, is the only one that can beat Allen is himself.
Yeah.
He don't.
Well, Cowboy defense might be the big.
I mean, what do we see the Cowboys defense do in the last 3 games?
Well, they dominated the Eagles. Now they didn't play so well against whatchamacallit. I mean, they could get beat on the road. They could get beat, but
I just think
Bills defense got some holes in it too, though. They still got a linebacker out and they got a defensive lineman out.
It's just that they're at home. Josh Allen just gives them an opportunity to stay in the game.
What's your score? I say 27-22 Dallas.
Yeah. I like that 27-22.
Bills,
yeah. It'll be at home.
Well, that would be good to see Allen in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, that's the difference is that the Bills are in desperate mode, so they're going to try to do more, and maybe they'll cause them to make more mistakes. I don't want the Dallas Cowboys to lose as much as I don't like the Cowboys, but I don't want them to lose this game, but they're due for a loss for something petty and ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if they're going to lose anywhere for something petty and ridiculous, it's going to be in Buffalo. So this is the game.
I'm going to stick with Dallas. I picked them yesterday. I think they'll win. I don't have a lot of faith in this game, but
27-21 Buffalo. I like that pick.
Okay. Last game here. Baltimore, Jacksonville. Baltimore was favored, but the money's coming in on Jacksonville. Now that line's going down to like 3, 2.5. It's played at Jacksonville. But Trevor Lawrence still got that high ankle sprain. I don't see Ravens screwing this thing up,
This is a game that's up to Jackson to turn up.
I think so too. With that secondary,
they better score.
Suspect for Jacksonville. Yeah,
I see this game being 32-27 and Jackson
Ravens
winning this.
Yeah, me too.
Jacksonville.
Well, no, what did I put here? Hold on, let me make sure I get that right. I didn't. 26-20 Ravens win.
Yes.
They cover that. They cover the score there. Okay. What other shows are you on? Plug them real quick.
Yo, I'm in every Friday mornings at 9:00. Keith and I on the Let's Talk Sports Network. Are you serious? And also here with you on Friday nights at 8.
Eastern. Yeah.
I'm working on some things and for the new year, so hopefully they'll pan out. And we'll just keep it going, right?
Yeah. And you said you do an NFC East show.
Oh, that's right. I do the NFC East show Wednesday nights with Alan Perez, the NFC Roundup. Alan Perez.
And that's on YouTube, NFC Roundup.
Yeah, Jay from Red Room Sports and Chris from Villanova Nation. Yeah.
Okay. All right, man. Ask Carlos what Pickle says. You got fans, man. Carlos. You got fans.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with them hashtags and Carlos, man. My name is so famous.
Or Mad New Yorker.
It's like,
okay, you want me to share this show on the Mad New Yorker page? Is that what you're trying to tell me the other day?
Yes, sir. Do that. I'm working.
Okay, we'll do.
Keeping it real, keeping it still. You know what I'm
saying? Pickle says we got to get rid of those techno geeks.
Oh.
Hey, man, thanks again. I'll see you. Have a good night.